Okay, hi Zach. Welcome to lesson number 85, and today's lesson starts on page 351. Can you believe it? We've done 350 pages of math. That is so cool. Okay, today's lesson is going to be super fun because we're going to talk about stem and leaf plots. Did you like my little artwork there? Stem and leaf plots, and then we're also going to talk about histograms, which goes right along with us as you will see. So I thought you might want to hear a construction joke to start out. Oh, never mind. I'm still working on that one. Okay. Alrighty then. All right. So when we gather data, this first part is going to talk about stem and leaf plots. When we gather data, sometimes the data looks like this. This is like a teacher that gave out a test to her class of 30 students. So let's say there are 30 students in her class. And how did they do on her test? Well, she wants to know that. But these are all the test scores, and they're kind of a disaster because, it's just the way she corrected them. So if we want to sort of organize and then analyze this data, we need a way to organize it. You can find the mean. Remember how you find the mean? It's kind of mean to make you find the mean, because in order to find the mean, you have to add up every single one of these together. That goes on the numerator, the sum of all the scores, and on the denominator is just going to be 30 because there were 30 students. So that's the number of data points that you have. So if you do that, and I just let the book do it for me, because turns out you're going to get 2,444 if you add up all these numbers together, and then you divide it by 30, then you know that the mean is 81.47. So what did the average student get? Average student, or the mean, got 81.47 on this test. Okay, now what if we want to find the range and the mode and the median? You know how to do that, right? You don't have to do the median, but you have to arrange the numbers in order from least to greatest. And you're probably feeling like this, but it's so hard. Like, that's a lot of numbers. Nobody wants to do that, right? One way to do it so it's a slightly easier task is to use a stem and leaf plot. So what you do is you choose a stem, like how big do you want the stem to be? It can be just one number like it is here, or it can be two numbers depending on what you're trying to graph. And then you add the leaves. So for example, this would be anyone that got a score of 50 something. If they got 50 something, it goes under this stem. So these are like the branches of a tree, and these are like the leaves. Okay, so if this is the branch, anything that was started with 50, then one student got 56 and one student got 58. Okay, and then if you look at this stem, 6, one student got 69, one student got 62, one student got 65. And so you can do a stem and leaf plot, so it's easier to sort of organize all of this information. Okay, now the next thing is that you can leave it like this, and you can get some idea. Like you can see that, well, most people got in the 80s because there's a lot of numbers here, okay? And you can get some information, but if you really want to organize it even better, you can put these numbers in orders from least to greatest. So for example, this one's already organized like that, but this next one, instead of 925, you can do, well, let's make it green because they're leaves. 2, 5, 9. Okay, and you would do that for each one. 55404 would be 55404. It would be 5540455. Okay, it would be that, right? And then they're actually all organized from least to greatest, if you do it that way. Okay, and they did it that way in your book. So the next one would be, I'm just copying your book now, and it would be in the 80s. It would be, let's see, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9. Okay. And then that last row, let me just do that last row really quick. It's going to be 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. Okay, so there's your stem and leaf plot, and everything is nice and organized. Now you already know it's possible to calculate the mean without arranging the scores. But now that they're in order from least to greatest, you can also find the range. So the range is just the highest score minus the lowest score. Okay, so the highest score is 96. So the range is going to be 96 minus what's the lowest score? The lowest score is 56. Okay, so 96 minus 56, and I get 40. So the range is 40. Okay, what about the mode? I'm just going to erase this and bring this up so I can look at the stem and leaf plot at the same time. So the mode is any number that comes up most often. Remember, like the fashion mode model? Like if everyone buys the same outfit, that's the mode. So I want to look at some repeats. So if it is a repeat, it would have to be on the same row. So a 4 and a 4, because that's 74 and 74. But if there's a 4 on this row, it would be 64, so that's not the same. But if it's the same number on the same row, so there's two 74s. All right, so let me write that down. There's 74 and a 74, and there's a 75 and a 75. And then I'm just looking through, there's two 81s. So there's going to be two 81s. And I guess I don't need to write it twice. So 74, I can just write 74, 75, 81. What else is the same? 87 and 88. So 87, 88. What else? If I'm looking through these, 95 and 96. So there's a 95 and 96. And the most is 2. So there's nobody that got 3 test scores that were the same. So if like one more person got 75, then the answer would be 75. But since everyone got just 2 that are the same, then these are all the mode. It would be like a bimodal, except this is a monomodal, bimodal, trimodal, quadrimodal, quintuplet modal, sextuplet, hex, I don't know what 7 is, septuplet modal, septimodal or something. Anyway, there are 7 different modes. So that's fine. There are 7 modes, and those are what they are. Okay, now the last thing that they want us to figure out, erase this, erase, is the median. So how do we figure out the median? The median is the score that's right in the center. Now, I know that there are 30 students in the class because they told us that at the beginning. So is there one number that's right in the center? Well, not really, because if you divide that into 2 groups, there's 15 in one group and 15 in another group. So you have to take the 15th and the 16th score and then average them. So let's find that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 83 and 85. This is right in the middle. That way there's 28 scores, not including these. So there's 14 in front and 14 behind. So 83 and 85. So what do you do when there's not one test score right in the middle? You average them. 83 plus 85 divided by 2, and you get an average of 84. So that's the median. It's the one that's right in the middle. Okay, let's jump to example 85.1. In this one, I changed the name to Goofy because Goofy likes to golf, as you can see. And he hit 20 balls in a row, and these are his distances below. Woo, lots of numbers there. Okay, so it says it wants us to create a stem and leaf plot with those distances by using the first 2 digits Remember I said you can pick how thick the trunk you want to be? You can choose the thickness of the stem. So we're picking the first two numbers and then use the last digit as the leaf. Okay, and then find, once we do that, they want us to find in which 10-yard stem is the most golf balls landed. In which category? Is it going to be 16 where the most golf balls land, or 17? Okay, these are 10-yard stems because it's going from 140s to 150s. Okay. Oops. Okay. Here we go. So I'm going to take 150 and I'm going to put it there. I'm going to take 165 and put it there. 176, put it there. 148, 181, 173, 162. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm ignoring the first two numbers. I'm just choosing the category I want it to be in. And then I'm writing the last number in that category. And I'm making sure that I don't repeat anything. Now, I'm just doing them in order that they're showing up, which means I'm not putting them in order from least to greatest. But that's okay because it just asked, in which 10-yard stem did the most golf balls land? And I can see that it's in this one because I have lots of values past that 17. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 golf balls landed here. So this is the answer. It was in the 170 to 179 yard range. So the answer is 170 to 179 yard range. Okay, cool. All right, let's jump to 85.2. Now, in this one, they give us the stem and leaf information right there. And they want us to find the range, the median, the mode, and the mean of the data shown in this plot. So the first thing I'm going to do is see, did they actually put it in order for me? And it looks like they did not. They did not. So we have to list it in order if we want all of this information. Okay, so what they did is they actually wrote it all out in order like this. 846. Okay. 848. Another 848. 849. Oh man, this is going to be long, huh? 852. 853. I don't think you need to watch me do this. Okay, once you get it in order, you get the range. The range is going to go from the highest to the lowest, is high minus low. And that's going to be equal to, let's see, what's it going to be? The scores range from 846, that's the lowest, all the way up to 876, that's the highest. So it's 876 minus 846, it's 30. Okay, then it wants to know what's the median. The median is the one right in the center. Now, if you have an even number, you're going to have to average two numbers. If you had an odd number, and it turns out we do end up with an odd number, we end up with 17, then you pick the one that is exactly in the middle. And I didn't get that far down, but the answer was 862, because that is going to be the answer that's right in the middle. That means there's 17 minus 1 is 16. So there's 8 in front and 8 behind it. Okay? And then it wants to know the mode. So which one comes up most often? Now, you don't actually have to put it in order to figure that one out, because I can see that this one's repeated, this one's repeated, this is repeated, and the 8 is repeated. So it looks like it has 1, 2, 3, 4 modes. Oh, there's one more that I didn't see. So the modes are, the modes are all the ones that are repeated. If there's one that's repeated 3 times, that's the winner. But since they're all repeated twice, the answers are 848, 853, 862, 873, and 876, and those are in order. Okay, and then it wants to know the mean. Again, you don't need to put them in order to figure out the mean. Just add all these together and divide it by the total, which is 17. And the mean, it turns out to be 860. I didn't do that because it's hard, but duh. I know you know how to do that, so duh. All right, 85B. Then it goes over histograms. Now, it kind of makes the point that if you take a stem and leaf plot, here's the stem, here's the leaves, okay? If you put it on its side and then you just graph that, that's basically a stem and leaf plot. It just changes, instead of 5 here, it brings it from like 50 all the way to 59. Like it's sort of this interval in between 50 and 60. So 50 to 59 is here, and there are 2 scores, okay? And then, so we have those right there. And then from 60 to 70, we plot all the 6s there. Once we hit the 70, then we do the 7 and the 0. That one goes there in this category, along with all the other 70s. So I think you get the idea. It's basically a frequency curve. Like, if you smooth it out, it's a frequency curve. In other words, like, what's the most common score? It's this, like, in the 80 range, you know. And so you can get the same information from a histogram plot, but usually this is just a bar with like a color or something, and all of these numbers aren't there. So a histogram actually has a little bit less information than this does, because this has all the raw data, and the raw data is not usually in here in the histogram, but it makes it easier to sort of eyeball what's going on. Okay, let's do example 85.3. This is a histogram showing the speed of 40 cars. So they do tell us that there are 40 total cars through a checkpoint. And it wants to know, so here's the information. Here's the number of cars. So for example, the number of cars that were going between 25 and 29 are put here. And it looks like there were 4 cars going between 25 and 29 miles per hour. So they want to know how many had a speed that was more than 25 and less than 30. Oh, well, I just did that. That's this bar, and that correlates to 4. So the answer to the first one is 4. Then they want to know what is the mode. And remember, the mode is the number that shows up the most often. And so, and we don't know the exact numbers, but you can choose the mode based on the interval. You can say which interval was the most often. So between 35 and 40 has the highest point. So I can say the mode is from 35 to 40 interval. I can't be more specific than that, except that that's the highest point. And then it wants to know what percent of cars were going less than 40 miles per hour. Okay, so less than 40 means anything to the left of this line. So I can do, I just add these up. So there were 11 cars here. So 11 plus, and then there were 10 cars here, 10 plus, and then there were 4 cars here. So 11 plus 10 plus 4 is going to be what? 21 plus 4. It's going to be 25 out of how many cars total? It told you that there were 40. So 25 divided by 40, whatever that is, and it turns out that it's 0.625, which means a percentage of 62.5%. That's the answer. That's the percent of cars that were going less than 40 miles per hour. Okay, and guess what? That's the end of this lesson. And you may not think you've learned very much, but trust the process. You are learning so much. All right, have fun doing your math today, Zach. Love you. Bye.